Hello there guys, and welcome back to another one of these build highlights that I've been making recently for the builds I enjoy in SSF Standard. And this is a Blade Vortex Occultist that I created primarily because my previous character, my Winter Orb character, didn't really do very well in terms of killing the bosses, even in things like Strand. So I often found myself having to portal out or try and just evade the bosses for a really long time while kiting them around the arena or just dying to them repeatedly. And this character does a lot better, and it's a pretty standard Occultist Blade Vortex, I think. Most of this gear I was going to use once upon a time to run a self-curse setup, but that's been changed. I was going to do some pretty cool fractured map farming, but that's sadly memories of a time that's long past. And this is what my tree currently looks like. I'm fairly pleased with it. It's got a couple problems. I don't think I should be running this. The vitality is nice, and it's the only stat I'm using. I should try and farm for something slightly better than this, because I'm running a couple of auras. I think I could get something better, but the vitality, I'm not sure how much it does in the end. I'm running some pretty mediocre jewels. Most of them are just life and multi, and I think that's about it. I did find a Blade Vortex Duration helmet, and otherwise I'm just running Rimburn and the Mastery on Tree to convert most of my damage to cold. That's probably one of the more important details to keep track of. And let's get into the map. This is just a pretty normal map. Put in a couple basic scarabs, so this should be nothing out of the ordinary, really. A pretty realistic scenario. And another thing that's also very nice about this build is that it requires far less standing still. Winter Orb has that huge multiplier to its frequency when you're standing still, which makes you really want to stand still almost all the time, but Blade Vortex doesn't have anything of that, so it is a lot more smooth in that sense, for sure. Otherwise, this is going to be, a headhunter build for the most part, but it's still, there is a noticeable difference when you're using something like Fizz because of the mod pool of all the rares. It does make a huge difference to the amount of scaling that you get off of all the headhunter buffs, for sure. And let's see what a legion looks like. You can see most of it is already cleared, kind of. See, we didn't get a boss. I've been finding these legions to be pretty good in Strand, but sometimes you do get some corners that are pretty tricky to get into, and also sometimes they're just very tightly bunched up. Like if this little crevasse with the corrupted zone, is that what they're called? No, Vol side areas, of course. Corrupted zone. If that wasn't there, we would have gotten a pretty meager Legion there, which is pretty sad. But otherwise, Legion is, of course, amazing if you're playing something like a Headhunter, because you will get double buffs from all the sergeants. Just pick up some stuff. I don't think I've done this in my previous video. I haven't picked up any of this stuff, but hey, you know what? Maybe this is going to be a bit longer than usual. Otherwise, in terms of loot I've gotten recently, it's been pretty meager, honestly. I did get this really well rolled Ashes of the Stars from the Eater of Worlds, which I am very pleased about, because I've got a feeling that both of the amulets are going to get nerfed. I did find the other one as well, but the roll is a lot less consequential for that one. So I feel happy about having those in case I want to do something with them in the future, because I suspect that they will create legacy versions, that they won't update the existing ones, but who knows. I've always found GGG's methodology there a bit inconsistent, but I mean, obviously if they, like for example in the case of cluster jewels, if they change like a notable, I understand that even the old ones are going to have the new change notables, but when they change items and mods on items, I haven't really found a good way of determining ahead of time if I think something's getting nerfed, if it's actually going to have a legacy version on standard or not. But if anyone has any thoughts, comments, or opinions about that, that would be very interesting to hear. And we looked into another Legion, turns out. So let's pop this. And I don't think this build is actually as fast as the Winter Orb character. I'm pretty sure it's noticeably slower, but it doesn't die quite as much, which is worth a decent chunk to me. Like, I thought I wouldn't care that much about it, but I really do. It's super annoying. I guess it would be better if it was just super glass cannon and you killed or got killed with Winter Orb, but it's mostly just that the damage is so low on the bosses that the boss just takes forever, and then you die to a random one shot after like a minute of fighting it, which is the worst. It's the absolute worst. I don't have any of my Atlas spec'd into Expedition, but I still actually find them fairly rewarding. But it's kind of hard to tell how rewarding they are, because it ends up, I mean, the primary reward is what you get from the vendors, and that's not very obvious what you get from this specific map in that sense. You know what, I'll just throw down a couple. I'd be curious to know how many of you guys actually try and min-max and like think about your placement of your explosives, because I think I spend a little bit too much time on it for how much it gets me. I think I'm just overthinking it, and I should just be tossing it on all the garbage I could find, basically. The only ones that seem to make a real difference are like the big pack size ones, or like I think there's like a double rare and like a 50% magic. Those do make a difference, and those are noticeable, but I don't know. I just haven't been getting a lot of logbooks recently either. But I've also ran very few logbooks in my lifetime. Ow. And as far as nodes on the Atlas goes, the new box nodes, they are amazing. And you can see the boss just absolutely melts. And it's also freezes a lot more easily than the Winter Orb character does, which is a huge plus as well. And as far as my Atlas setup, I think it's very similar to what I had previously, if you're interested. But this is what it looks like, just picking up all the essence, as is par for the course, and then a bunch of strongbox stuff. Harbinger, more strongbox, some of the map nodes I really should probably be... there's one that gives you a chance for that, right? No, that's from the Eldritch bosses, yeah. But yeah, I know also the Sexton stuff is also super consequential. And also some Betrayal. So that's what my Atlas passive tree looks like. And I'm also uncertain if I should be doing 5-ways with this character, because I've farmed up a decent amount of 5-ways now, and I don't know what would do best in there really. And I'm thinking about rolling up something like a tornado shot character for that perhaps, but yeah, it would scale better with all the headhunter buffs, but I'm not sure if it's worth the effort. Probably is, because I would use it for other things as well, but if you've got a nice build that you like for that stuff, give me a link. And if you've got any thoughts or opinions on how I could change this build to increase the efficiency of it, then please feel free to leave me a comment, and I will see you next time. Peace out.